Greetings, dear friends. Your invaluable support is our strength. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This greatly helps the growth of our channel. Leave your comments. Your feedback is very valuable to us. And now, to the most important and current world events. Let's go.
It's absolutely burning all over the yard.
In an explosion in Balashikha near Moscow, the deputy head of the main operational department of the General Staff, Yaroslav Moskalik, was killed. According to the investigative committee, an improvised explosive device filled with shrapnel detonated in a Volkswagen Golf car. The investigative committee has opened a case under the articles of murder and illegal trafficking of explosives. In a similar manner, at the end of last year, the head of the Radiation, Chemical and Biological Defense Troops of the Ministry of Defense, Igor Kirillov, was killed. The incident was recognized as a terrorist attack by Ukrainian Special Services, the department where the deceased served. Today, the general develops military operations, including in the Special Military Operations Zone. NRVC, main news. In the studio, Anna Krupina. Vladimir Putin met with the U.S. President's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Today, he arrived in Moscow.
And you ask why I can't say that I can't?
This is already the fourth meeting between Putin and Witkoff since the beginning of February. The negotiations also involve the president's aide, Yuri Ushakov, and the head of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, Kirill Dmitriev. Last week, Witkoff was in Paris, where he met with representatives from Ukraine and European countries. There, he presented the U.S. proposal for conflict resolution. In response, Europe and Ukraine put forward their own plan. Today, Reuters published both documents. They propose a permanent ceasefire and the immediate start of negotiations to implement the plan. However, there are significant differences. More on this from RBC commentator Yevgeny Matviev.
According to Trump's plan, Washington is ready to legally recognize Crimea as Russian, and the Luhansk region and territories that Russia controls in the Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia regions could be recognized by the US as belonging to Russia, de facto. Meanwhile, according to the plan, Ukraine will regain the entire Kharkiv region and control over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But it will be managed by the US, and energy will be supplied to both countries. Additionally, the document envisions Ukraine having unhindered access to the Dnipro River. Among other US proposals are the possibility of Ukraine joining the European Union, not joining NATO, and reliable security guarantees. These should be provided by European countries, plus a willing number of European states. According to the plan, Ukraine should be fully restored and receive financial compensation. It is not specified from whom. At the same time, the US will lift all sanctions imposed on Moscow since 2014 and restore cooperation in energy and other areas. The day before, Trump stated that the main concession from Russia should be the cessation of hostilities.
Stop the war. Stop the takeover of the entire country. Quite a significant concession. I am exerting a lot of pressure. You don't know what kind of pressure I am putting on Russia. What are they dealing with?
As Reuters reports, in response to the US plan, Europe and Ukraine presented their counter-proposal. The agency publishes it as well. The document also begins with a clause on the full and unconditional ceasefire, but its compliance should be monitored by the USA with the support of third countries. Security guarantees for Kyiv, similar to NATO's Article 5, should be provided by Washington, among others. At the same time, there should be no restrictions on the size of the Ukrainian army, nor on the military presence of countries friendly to Kyiv. The issue of the territory of Europe and Ukraine is proposed to be discussed after the ceasefire and based on the current line of contact. Ukraine must be fully restored and damages compensated, including with the help of frozen Russian assets. These will not be unfrozen until Moscow compensates Kyiv. Economic losses. American sanctions may be gradually lifted after peace is achieved, but they can also be reinstated if Russia violates the agreement, according to the document. Yevgeny Matviev, RBC.
Inflationary pressure continues to decrease, although it remains high. This is reported by the central bank following the meeting of the board of directors. Today, the regulator has kept the key rate at a record level of 21% per annum for the fourth consecutive time. The rate has not changed since October of last year. According to the Bank of Russia, inflation expectations among the population, businesses and financial market participants have not significantly changed since March and remain elevated. This hinders a faster slowdown in inflation. Inflationary pressure is decreasing because tight monetary conditions are affecting demand, but it is too early to judge the sustainability of this trend. As stated by the regulator, the economy continues to grow, but at a more moderate pace.
Companies included in our monitoring now provide more restrained assessments of current production of goods and services. After some acceleration in January, consumption growth has slowed down. Due to the lags I have already mentioned, the slowdown in demand is more noticeable in the durable goods segment, and it has not yet manifested in the field, fully, for example, in public catering and tourism. Investment activity is close to the high levels of last year, and the overwhelming majority of the companies we surveyed plan to either maintain or increase their investment volumes this year. This topic is covered in the insert of the Regional Economy Report. At the same time, the rate of investment growth is likely to slow down.
According to the central bank, the growth of domestic demand still significantly outpaces the capacity to expand the supply of goods and services. High domestic demand is supported by an increase in household incomes and budget expenditures. The growth of economic activity in the first quarter of 2025 slowed down compared to the fourth quarter of the previous year. The central bank also reported on the medium-term horizon. The balance of risks for inflation remains skewed towards pro-inflationary. A criminal group illegally obtained maternity capital in 59 regions of Russia, the police report. The fraudsters submitted fake documents about births outside of medical facilities to the Civil Registry Office and the multifunctional centers. They issued birth certificates and then received social benefits based on them, including maternity capital. According to police data, a total of 630 women illegally received the money. The payment for the first child in Russia this year is 676,000 rubles, and for the second child, 893,000. A case against the organizers of the criminal community has been initiated in the Novosibirsk region. 14 people have been detained. Another 229 criminal cases have been initiated under the article on fraud. In Islamabad, they deny involvement in the terrorist attack in northern India. The Senate of Pakistan unanimously passed the corresponding resolution.
The country rejects all frivolous and unfounded attempts to link Pakistan with the attack on Pahalgam on April 22nd in the illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir by India. We condemn the organized and unscrupulous campaign by the Indian government to tarnish Pakistan, which follows a familiar pattern of exploiting the issue of terrorism in a narrow political game.
The resolution also condemns India's suspension of the treaty that allows for the joint use of the Indus River water. All 4 sluice gates controlling the flow of water through the dam channels have been closed. This is happening for the first time since the treaty was concluded in 1960. Pakistan equates this, quote, to an act of war. New Delhi made the decision after a terrorist attack in the Indian region of Jammu and Kashmir. There, 26 people were killed. India blamed Pakistan for the attack. New Delhi stopped issuing visas to Pakistani citizens and annulled those previously issued. In Islamabad, in response, they closed the airspace to India and suspended all bilateral agreements, including trade. Amidst this, today, the sides exchanged fire along the border control line, Indian media report. New Delhi claims that the fire was opened at the initiative of the Pakistani side. The Defense Minister of Pakistan stated in an interview with Sky News that the country is preparing for a possible attack from India and will respond to it with full force. When asked if the world has reasons to be concerned, he answered yes. China again accused US President Donald Trump of lying. Thus, the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs commented on the statement about the start of trade negotiations with Washington.
Pataricom. Yesterday, my colleagues from the Ministry of Commerce and I clearly answered this question. China and the US have not held any consultations or negotiations on tariffs, and the US should not mislead the public.
On the eve, Trump stated for the second time in the last 2 days that negotiations between the US and China are ongoing. The first time he said that representatives of his administration are talking with Beijing every day. He did not provide details but noted that tariffs at 145% are high and expressed hope that the countries will reach a deal. Yesterday, the American president commented on the statement by Chinese authorities, who announced the start of consultations between Russia and China, countries from various parts of the world. Fake news?
They had a meeting this morning. I can't tell you who is negotiating. It doesn't matter who they are. We can reveal that later. But they had meetings this morning, and we met with China.
Today, in an interview with Time magazine, Trump stated that he has already communicated with Chinese leader Xi Jinping within this presidential term. According to Trump, the head of China called him first. Beijing has not reported anything about the conversation with Trump. Behavior grades in all schools in Russia are planned to be introduced from the beginning of next year. This was announced by the Minister of Education, Sergei Kravtsov. In 5 regions, this will be done earlier, starting from September 4th. There, they will test how to assign such a grade, who will do it, and according to what criteria. TASS, citing a presentation by the Ministry of Education, lists the pilot regions. These are LNR, Mordovia, Chechnya, Novgorod, Yaroslavl, and Tula regions. It is specified that by July 1st, the list of schools will be determined. By August 1st, educational institutions must develop local regulatory legal acts. The results of the experiment promise to be discussed with teachers and parents. Behavior grades were abolished in Russian schools in March of the year 1989. In February, Vladimir Putin instructed the government to conduct a broad discussion on the issue of returning grades. Psychologists agree that a behavior grade will not solve the problem of aggression and bullying in schools, as it is necessary to address the causes of such behavior, which often stem from the family. These were the main news.